recording. Time for some claps. Sweet. How do we start this off? Howdy, everybody. My name is Zach Ramirez. It's good to see you. It's good to be here. This is it. This is my vlog. Doing some things, doing some stuff. Just, trying some different things out. A little bit about myself. I am a musician. I've been playing some music. Wow, this is different talking to a camera. I don't really talk to a camera. Anyways, really excited for today. I wanted to give you a little bit of a peek inside what it's like playing live for those of you who are trying to get into playing out a little bit more, trying different things, playing at different churches, playing with different bands. Wanted to give you a little bit perspective on kind of just what it's like, how to get into it, the different aspects of it, how things typically go. So that way, your very first time playing for church or playing with another band, you're not completely surprised. You have some things to look out for and you are prepared and you are ready to go. So today I will be playing at North Star Church for Wave. That is North Star's college group. I'll be playing some drums. I'll give you guys a little bit of a peek, a little bit of an insight on how that goes. Some things to look out for, to be prepared for. I said that already. I'm repeating myself. This is different. I'm not used to this. I'm not used to being in front of a camera talking like this. But yeah, we're gonna make this work. Anyways, so I'm gonna bring you along. It's gonna be really cool. Let's do this. Push. Feels so dark. Behold, Sheila. Hey guys, it's me, Zach from the future. So, I'm still new to this whole vlogging thing. I didn't really vlog a whole lot while I was there because I'm not used to taking a video while I'm there, getting prepared and everything, going through the run through and whatnot. But I thought, hey, I'll come in here from the future and kind of just walk with you guys and talk things through, how the flow of the night goes. Little tips here and there, things to kind of get you along in this journey, things to expect when you're playing at a church. So, just wanted to start off before anything. Tip number one. Be prepared. Look at the songs, know the songs, listen to the songs. Some churches you play at or some bands or whatever that you play at where every note has to be exactly like the recording or they want it a specific way. But most of the times, as long as you have a general idea of how the song goes and just the vibe is the best word I could think of right now of the song, and you can capture that in your playing, it's better to have a framework and just kind of know how the flow of the songs go. So know the songs, be prepared. Also, in being prepared means bringing the right equipment. Ask the leader, the media director, or the worship leader, or ask them, hey, what equipment do I need to bring? If you're playing guitar, ask if there's an amp provided, or if you need to bring an amp. If you're playing drums, do you need to bring cymbals? Do you need to bring your snares? Sometimes you need to bring a whole kit. If you need to bring a whole kit, most of the time they'll let you know. In this scenario, all I had to bring was my stick bag and in-ears. Also, bonus tip, if you're not used to playing with a track or with a click or anything like that, get used to that. That'll definitely help you be prepared as opposed to jumping into the situation. You plug things in, all of a sudden you just hear somebody talking to you saying verse 1, chorus, instrumental. It's if you're not expecting that, it can be very daunting at first, and having to click, just blasting and clicking in your ears can be very distracting and very unnatural at first. I definitely advise practicing to a click, practicing scales, practicing songs, practicing rudiments. On whatever you're doing, practice to a click and be prepared to use in-ears, using click, guide, and tracks, and this, that, and the other. I really do like having a click track when I play. Having backing tracks, my opinion switches on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes I love them, sometimes I hate them. It really depends on the day for me. I know. Anyways, be prepared, click and track, learn how to play with a metronome. So, this brings us to the very first thing that happens when you are playing at a church is you arrive, you show up.
What?
What's up, Hope?
Hi. Hello. Welcome.
Hope Godwin.
Gracie can't. The squad. Let's get it.
Come with us.
Here we go.
Join us.
What's happening, muchachos?
So tip number 2, show up on time. This kind of goes back to the being prepared thing, but show up on time. Especially if this is a new church you're playing at, you want to make a good first impression. Show up early, show up 5 minutes early, show up 10 minutes early. Know what the call time is, account for traffic, things that could happen. Sometimes, you know, if there's a wreck and there's just bumper to bumper traffic, it's something you can kind of account for. Most of the time people understand, but think about those things and show up early. It's just really good practice. If this is a new place and you're playing drums or something, this gives you time to kind of set the kit up the way you want. Sometimes sound engineers, media directors aren't the biggest fan of that. Ask them beforehand if you can do that or just what adjustments you can make. Anyways, show up on time. That'll give you a big advantage. Tip number 3, once you've arrived, introduce yourself. Introduce yourself to front of house. Learn their name.
Shelby Brooks. Keisha Lawson. I know last names. I messed up hopes.
If you're terrible with names like me, be honest about that and tell them, hey, I'm gonna have to ask again. I'm just terrible with names. Most people are, they'll understand. Introduce yourself to people. It makes playing there again a whole lot easier because the next time you come, it's not a whole new environment. Sometimes you're playing with new people. Sometimes if it's a big enough church, you're playing with new people every time you come. Most of the time, you'll get the same rotation of people. Introduce yourself. It's just the polite thing to do. And it really helps just make a good impression and helps the team engage and unite together when everybody knows each other's names. So don't be afraid, don't be shy, just do it. Gets easier every time. All right, so after we arrive and after everybody's there and getting plugged in and everything, this brings us to sound check.
Shelby, are you playing bass? What?
So this is where guitarists are getting their levels checked, vocalists are mic checking, bassists are checking their signal and everything. For drummers, depending on the situation, we might have a very extended sound check. For drummers, this is how the sound check typically goes. Sound engineer will talk to you with the microphone or yell at you or whatever, and they'll ask you to play one instrument at a time. They'll say snare, and when they do that, you just hit the snare drum. Same dynamic over and over. No less. Try to keep it as even as possible. Just smack, smack, smack. Do that a bunch of times till they get what they want. Then they'll say kick drum. They'll ask you to hit rack tom, floor tom, some cymbals and whatnot. Then they'll probably have you play a groove after that. Just simple hi-hat, kick, snare. Don't do anything fancy with your kick. Don't do anything fancy with your snare. Don't do anything fancy with your hat. Keep it straight, keep it simple, and then move around. After doing a couple bars of hi-hat, kick, snare, throw in some rides, some crashes in there. And after that, do a little tom groove. Do something to give them a good picture of how the full kit sounds together. Don't make it too fancy so that way they can hear each and every individual piece and what's going on. You can throw in some little like snare rolls after you've given them several bars of a straight beat. Don't do anything fancy, it's just sound check. Also during this time while you're sound checking, take this time to experiment with your mix. If you're using like a little personal mixer, like I know Behringer has one, Allen and Heath has their ME500s or ME1s, there's the Aviom system which is very popular. They're all pretty much the same. Take this time, experiment with your mix, pan things left and right, move things around. If you're sitting on the stage and there's a singer to your far right, there's a singer to your far left, a singer in the middle, pan that one to the right, pan that one to the left, keep this one kind of in the center. It'll give you just a better picture of what's going on stage and it will feel a lot more natural. Tip number 4, drummers especially need to do this. Prioritize click in your mix. Have click be the loudest and clearest thing. I'm not saying it has to be bleeding, has to be punching your ears, but it has to be something that you're not losing it the second you start playing. Most of the time, when you start playing and it is the loudest thing, it'll kind of blend in if you're playing on time. If you start messing up, you'll hear it again, and then you can jump right back on that. If you, as a drummer, lose the click and you can't hear it because it's just muddied up by singers and bassists and guitar lead, and then you get off the click, everybody is gonna get off. The drummer's job is to keep everybody on time. And if you get off time and you bring everybody else off time, you ain't doing your job. Drummers, prioritize click in your mix. Do it. It's just best for everybody. Tip number 5, don't be afraid to ask a musician for a specific instrument.
Seth, can you play your keys real quick? Thank you, sir.
And if there's something that you're trying to dial in a little bit, don't be afraid to just politely ask, but don't take too much of their time. This goes on kind of to tip number 6. Be respectful of others. Don't be afraid to ask people to play their instruments so that you can get the right level, but don't take all of their time because they also need to dial in their mix. Just get something quick, something you can mess around and tweak a little bit later, but just get enough. It'll be okay. Let them go off and do their own thing. And being respectful of others also means if once you have your mix dialed in, don't play your instrument, especially for us drummers. Drums are so tempting to play, but gosh, they're loud. They're stinking loud. Everybody knows they're loud. And it's really annoying if people are trying to dial in their mixes and you're just blasting away. Be respectful of others. Let people mix their ears. Don't play your instrument. Show some restraint. It'll be good for you. Quick little bonus tip. We're going to get a little bit nerdy here. If for some reason the snare just isn't sitting right for you, here's a really cool trick to make it sound nice, wide, and real thick, real thuddy, or real thick sounding snare. I'm saying thick a lot. If you're playing at a church and they have stereo in-ears and there is a top and bottom snare mic, take your top mic, take your bottom mic, pan one to 10 or 2 o'clock, pan the other to 10 or 2 o'clock. Doesn't matter left or right. Just keep them about the same distance, not far right, not far left, not even middle, just like a little bit separation from each of the mics. It'll make it sound really nice and thick, and it'll leave room for the kick to just sit right in the middle of your mix. If your mix is sounding a little muddy, definitely a little trick to try out. All right, and after sound check, it now comes time for rehearsal. This is the time we start to get to play music. The band is kind of feeling things out, getting like the feeling of each other and how different musicians can play off each other. Because even though we're playing off recordings, everybody's different. Everybody's going to play their instrument a little bit differently, just different feeling all around. So this is a great time to really just kind of listen to other musicians while you're playing, try to feed off their energy. Biggest tip I can give you for rehearsal, most of the time you're going to play the songs multiple times, probably 2 times. You'll play the first song, then make sure levels are good and everything, then you'll go back, you'll play it again. Second song, you'll play the second song once, you'll play the second song again. This goes over and over. Anyways, the first time you play the song, play it correctly. And I know that sounds obvious, but hear me out. You've practiced, you come prepared, knowing how to play the song, and you feel like you could do pull out a bunch of different fills or pull out a bunch of different licks here and there. First time you play it as close to the recording as possible. This does a couple things. One, lets the worship leader know that you came prepared, that you came practiced. And it establishes a baseline of how you're going to play the song. When it comes to the second time around, that's when you can throw in a couple different fills. You can play things a little bit differently, try to change things up, and then you can contrast that and say, hey, I did this differently this time. Did you like that? You can ask them, how did this sound when I did it this way? And they might say, you know what? I didn't really like it that time. If you can just play it like the recording, that'd be great. If they ended up liking what you changed, they could be like, hey, you know what? This person, they took the time to learn the songs and figure things out, but now they're trying to put their own creative spin on it. That's pretty cool, and I appreciate that. It's a good thing to let the band leader know that you did your part and you learned, and that gives you a little bit more creative liberty. So you've played through all the songs, you kind of picked your parts, how you're gonna play things and everything. So rehearsal's done, now it's time for the flow meeting. What's the flow meeting? Well, the flow meeting is when you go over the flow or the run through of the night. This is just kind of where they talk and walk through, here's what's gonna happen, here's the countdown that's gonna play right before you guys come up, here's who's going to speak first, band leader or worship leader is going to introduce the band or whatnot. It's just going over each and every step of the night and how the night will flow. Hence the name, flow meeting, of the night and how things go. Listen to the flow meeting. Now, after the flow meeting comes the run through. There's some churches that do it. There's some churches that don't. Essentially what it is, you've done your rehearsal, you've done your flow meeting. Now the run through is kind of like advanced practice time. You play through all the songs. You go through the entire flow of the night. Some things are shortened, like the speaker doesn't come and do their whole message. This is a way to check that all the slides are there. Every mic, every instrument is working. It's a way of letting everybody know how the night is going to go. And it gives you time to see it before it's actually go time. So in this time, treat it like it's the real thing. Don't be goofing off. Don't be messing around. Treat it like it's the real thing, like it's the actual time of worship. And it's a great way to start preparing your heart for the things that are to come for when you are going to be leading other people in worship. I think whether you're singing a song or whether you're playing guitar or playing keys or playing drums, you're helping lead people in worship. So this is a great way for you to prep yourself, prep your head, prep your heart in leading other people into worship. And after the run through, got a little bit of free time. Once your free time is up, ladies and gentlemen, it's go time.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Intro. Interlude 2, 3, 4. Bridge. Build.
Listen, you guys have no idea how far gone I was. Okay? So when we sing, you stepped into my Egypt. You better get excited if you believe it. Come on.
Drums
Hey.
in.
Oh, hallelujah. 'Cause you have torn apart the sea. You have led me through the deep, hallelujah, of forever. By the fury of your love. Get excited, come on.
Ending.
And then my camera died. But you know what? I was honestly kind of glad that it died. I have this thing called red light syndrome. It's not a real thing. Well, it kind of is a real thing. Here's what I mean by this. Whether you are recording audio or you're recording a video like this, most of the time, the indication that you are recording is either a little red dot or a little red thing that says record. And that little red dot or that little REC, those 3 little letters, can be the most terrifying thing. And it's hard to really engage when it's like, oh, the pressure's on, I'm being recorded, I gotta nail everything perfectly, or does the camera look right, or this, that, and the other. So those first 2 songs, I'll admit, they felt a little rough. I knew that the camera was recording, I was recording in the audio, and it was just weird knowing that I had these 2 things recording me. We're live. I'm just trying to be there in the moment and worship, but I'm getting distracted. And the biggest takeaway that I want you to get from this video is engage. If you are playing at church, again, no matter what instrument, or if you're leading the song, if you're a vocalist, engage in the time. I believe worship is super important for the church, and I think it's really important that we are being intentional about engaging with God and engaging brothers and sisters in the church and helping them to worship. But it can be hard sometimes to engage when there's other things going on. So my biggest tip for you is get your heart and your head right and really engage in the moment, in what's happening. Life can be crazy sometimes and it's hard to really engage, but it takes practice. It takes practice. And hopefully one day, over time, I will start to lose my red light syndrome, be able to engage a lot easier when things are recording, or maybe just not record some things. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you taking the time watching through this. Now, I'm gonna say it. Most cliche thing, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It'll really help me out. Professor Rodwig.
Hey, Professor, sorry for messing up your name. I'll get it right next time.
If you are watching this, which you are, because this is for my project, if I can get a certain amount of subscribers, can I just get an automatic A? Not have to take the final or something like that? I don't know. Challenges out there. I'll let you even make the number. Not something unrealistic. I'm not gonna get 1 million. Not with this. Not with this. But I'm trying. I'm really trying. So name your price. Name your price. Anyways, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. Stay safe. Take care. And play on.
Zach's awesome. Give him an A.
You heard it here.